Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian Freimertz, Tribeca Trade Group, and today is Monday, September 28th, and this is your end of day recap video. Some nice performance today. Follow through from what we saw towards the end of last week. So overall, strong breadth. You can see on the bottom left of my screen, a little market breadth indicator that we have, indicating what I like to refer to as minty green breadth. So very strong. If you want to look at the more particulars, we can kind of slice and dice it this way too. S&P 500 had 470 advancing names and only 33 decliners. The Nasdaq very strong there as well. 2,055 advancing names, 681 decliners. You could see the 4-week. Remember last week this was kind of an issue. A lot of the 4-week average names, there's a lot more new lows than new highs. We're starting to see that flip around a little bit today, particularly Nasdaq and S&P had 4 new ones and sorry, S&P had 4 new 4-week highs and 0 lows. So again, pretty good. I think again what I wanted to see today, I think we got right. A couple of times we saw in the beginning of last week the market rallied, but the market breadth wasn't there. And it kind of indicated that, in my opinion, when you see the market rally and it's on weak breadth, it could be vulnerable. And I think basically we saw that last week, right? We had a couple days in the beginning of the week where we bounced last week and they were faded very easily. So, and in those situations, I think you want to be taking profits a little bit quicker. Today's performance, take a look at the small caps. The small caps shine today. IWM up 2.5% for the day. SPY strong, up 1.7%. The Qs, which were a little bit weak in the beginning of the day, they kind of came on strong at the end of the day. Plus 2.1% for the day. We could put that one in green too. That is strong. So nice to see that. Dow also up 1.5%. Bonds light on the day, down about 30 basis points. Gold and silver also had a decent day, and the VIX came down a little bit. I saw some people talking about how the VIX was higher, but you got to wait till the end of the day. The VIX is lower, so that's what it kind of should be doing on a day like this. And if you look at the performance, solar names, unbelievable. Clean energy names, very, very strong. Home builders strong again. The banks kind of different in there today. Again, I'm just kind of looking at what names rallied, for overall performance for the day. You did have solar. I mean, solar was up 5% for the day. We'll go over a couple charts in that group. And the home builders were up 3.7%. But yeah, interesting to see the banks follow through there too. Those were a trouble spot last week. So good to see them bounce a little bit. I didn't do any. It seems like every time these banks rally a day or two, they're a good short opportunity. I did not put any shorts on, but I don't know. Maybe that's something that I'll look tomorrow if they have some follow through today. Again, very weak part of the market. Software, which looked very strong towards the end of last week, still finished up 1.1% for the day, but was one of the weaker groups through the day session. And again, these days where you gap up, which has been happening a lot on, over the weekend. We didn't get that last weekend, and I think that was probably I didn't count it per se, but I think we probably had about 4 or 5 weeks where we kind of had a little bit of a gap, positive gap into Monday's open. Again, we didn't have it last week, but we certainly had it today. And and also you didn't really hear too many people talking about the strength in Europe today. It's just kind of funny how international markets get so overlooked. But I understand it's been it's been really tough to trade, but you had the DAX of 3.2%. So we were not the U.S. market was not the only one that was going up today. So it's good to see nice global breadth too. I think all good things for one day. What else? Yeah, so I think overall the gap up days are they're difficult. They take a little bit of experience. They take a little bit of technique to trade. Basically what I do in the first part of the day is I'm a net seller. When we come in and we're up like a percentage and a half, and then I kind of wait about 15 minutes or or sometime thereafter, to kind of let things settle in. Often, I think when we gap up, there's people like me who are going to basically say, "Hey, I'm going to take some risk off the table into a nice Monday gift, and then see where things kind of settle in." So that was my approach for the day. Overall, I think some of the trades that I went home with on Friday were better, like this UPS. I did not stay in this trade. I was kind of waiting to see how this would look. But hey, this was nice. I got a nice broker upgrade from going long on Friday and a move out of consolidation. I will watch this to see if it has some upside continuation, because this was pretty coiled in terms of moving averages. But that was a nice one. Nvidia too was kind of a slow mover today, only up a little over 1%, but that's fine. I think we could still rally up to 543. So nice there. Restoration Hardware was a name I talked about on Friday. I took that trade off. Anytime something where I'm just in for a quick trade, happy to sell into some green. SE, where did SE finish for the day? Because I did sell. I didn't have to sell on the open, but I just decided again I wanted to be a net seller, and that name is almost back to 52-week highs. So there was another call buyer that came into that name, but we see that almost probably a couple days a week we see some activity in C Limited. All right, so pretty good there, and the weekend watch list I'll go through some more trades here, and I want to go over the S&P chart too. We're back inside value, right? We talked about this, ever since this was taken out, this Virgin point of control. By the way, so how great is that, right? So again, that's a reason why I really pay attention to these things. I don't think too many people were calling for or even know what a Virgin point of control is, but we turned on a dime on this thing. And one of my colleagues, Webb Gold, called this very nicely. He said, "Hey, I think that we could go down here because we have this on double time frames. We have this on the 1 hour chart too, which we took out as well." So really interesting to see that take place. Look at how old that Virgin point of control is, all the way back here. That was taken out. Let's see if I can zoom back in here. Right here it is, right here. All right, so that was from, August? Or the valuary back in July, that was. So what a nice reversal off of that. Kind of a double test here, and then we went. So looking ahead, I do see there's a VPOC up there at 3373. That would be a great place to take more profits in the short term if you're a short-term trader. And even if we kind of come in here a little bit, which I'm okay with too, and kind of back test a little bit, we still have this in front of us. So we don't have to get there in a straight line. We are now a little bit overbought, by the way, on the 1 hour relative strength index. RSI is now a what? It's a 74. So yeah, we could cool a little bit. What is NASDAQ? The Qs, I think, nice close, by the way, for the Qs. They are a little bit, they're overbought as well on the 1 hour. So just be mindful of that the indices are a little bit overbought in the short term. Crazy looking candle for the day too. Let's just look at IWM. But it's crazy how quickly this market could straighten itself around. We also talked about how we got through last week, which was the weakest week of the year, seasonal wise. So that is behind us. Again, this is not a super strong. We're not like now in a super strong seasonal time of year, but at least we got through that the weakest week, right? And a nice reversal there in IWM. This was also troubling to see this breakdown last week, right below the 200-day moving average, but we're back above it. 200-day moving average. We're going to be hitting some resistance. You got the 50-day moving average overhead as well as the bottom of value, but still nice to see this come back and not break down. All right, so I wanted to go over, every weekend I do this work where I put together a watch list. I do go out and buy these names. How this works, I have this one trade that I do every week where I go out and I buy all the watch list names that I put together over the weekend. And this did pretty good for today. Good start for the week, up 2.4%, so outperforming. And then what I do on Friday, so I hold them all the way till Friday, and I've been doing that for the most part. I think one week I took it off a little bit sooner than that. I think I took the watch list trade off once on Thursday, but other than that, I hold it to Friday. And what I do is I substitute. I take off the because this is just a trade for the week. I take the individual names, this basket off, and I put on SPY, and I hold SPY through the weekend, and then I get out of SPY on the open and into the new watch list name. So good to see this. I'm very pleased. Workhorse, of course, led here, but you had a bunch of other names that I thought Amazon. We'll talk a little bit about them. Up 2.5%. We now know that their Prime Day, or Prime Days, I guess, is October 13th and 14th. So you got a catalyst. I like when stocks have catalysts. When you know about them, right? We saw this for Tesla, for example. Tesla had Battery Day. The stock ran into the Battery Day. Then on the event, it sold off. So again, that's the buy the rumor, sell the news trade. And I think Amazon is starting that as well. So it's got a catalyst. Maybe this can run if you're looking for some levels. Right, so I put on a little bit of a trade for Amazon too for this week. 1 hour chart, 3227 is an area to target in the short term, and and a place to take off some trades, some short term trades. Again, if you're a short term trader, and then if we could break through that, then the next level to watch I think is 3310. So a lot of nice things, that if Amazon wants to get going now. It can certainly get rally pretty far before we hit some major resistance up at 3310. All right, so that's my thought on that one. Day trading today, I participated in the solar names were very strong. I played this SPWR SunPower. I thought this thing could get through to the top of value. That's basically where I took the trade off. Right, I tried a little bit of Roku today. Because there was a little bit of call buyer in there today, but really didn't work that well because I did get involved in it after the open. So it did get back to basically where I put the trade on, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. I unwound most of the trade today because it was just a day trade. So UPS, we talked about that one. In terms of option activity. There's a couple charts that really start to look pretty good now. This Qualcomm, added this consolidation and resolved itself higher. Took a few days, little back and forth price action, but moved higher. A lot of Qualcomm calls today. So I took a stock position on that. I kind of chased a little bit, but I just kept on seeing call after call go up. So I said, you know what? I know I'm a little bit late, but I'll put this name on. Interesting trade that went up in the healthcare ETF. I don't know if this has some election type ramifications to it, but this was an over $2 million trade that went up. These are the December 111 calls. Now, they could have just went out to November. There is a November contract which would cover the election. So don't really know what they're up to here. Maybe just thinking that, they like this group for a couple months. So I know that kind of seems weird with they're going to obviously talk, whatever candidate, they're both going to talk about healthcare, right? So this is kind of an interesting trade here. I don't love the chart here, so I did not take the trade. But somebody asked me earlier in the trading room. They said, well, how are you? What we do a lot is talk about option flow and talk about the momentum call buyers and so forth. And I always give you my opinion a lot of times in these end of day videos. But, it really, what I do is take the action that we see on the tape. And if it lines up in my system, then, I'll take a trade. If it doesn't, we see there's so many other choices in different trades that if it doesn't line up perfectly, I will only play, just so you could use a poker analogy, only play the best hands. Right, so I'll be watching this healthcare, and maybe you can kind of think about picking it apart too, right? You could look at some of the names that are in there, and you could say, oh, well, maybe I like this name over that name, and you can kind of pick, knowing that somebody, laid down a $2.9 million trade going out, a couple months. Other names that saw option activity today, and I'll go over just the last of my trades. I talked about NVIDIA. I actually added some back once the market sold off a little bit. ENPH was very strong. SEDG, all these solar names, and that's it. You could see I didn't over trade today. My goal on anytime that we have a gap up day is to not kind of chase too much, right? And make sure I'm a net seller. I'm doing more selling than buying. I think you could get away with some names if they have continuous momentum to them. But chasing names up 3 or 4%, sometimes you have to be a little bit more patient and wait for them to come back into you. Which who knows? Like I said, the indices are a little bit short-term overbought. Maybe you get that opportunity. But a couple other trades that we were looking at today. This Twist Bioscience. How nice is this breakout as well in this one? A couple other names that we had in the weekend, the Tribeca Trade Group weekend watch list. And again, the reason why I compile that is so that you have a game plan going into the week. But this Vive worked out pretty nicely. Another name, and again, I own all these names because I did buy the watch list on the open, so I am looking for continuation. But ServiceNow also almost back out to 52-week highs. What else performed well within this group? See, we talked about that one. Oh, Lennar, it's another one too. Toll Brothers, by the way, made a new high today. They were up 3% on the day. I did mention that the home builders had some strength to them. We'll just wait for Thinkorswim to adjust there. Yeah, really strong. You got a VPOC coming up there at about $1 away, 50.51. But I like this Lennar chart. And I've talked about this one a couple times now. Almost out and breaking the 52-week highs. So this is one, I wanted to see how it finished for the day. We did see some call action in this one early on in the day, but this is a really nice looking chart, I think, and has a chance to kind of break higher for tomorrow. We'll see how that works. And a couple other names that we saw, like just repeat call activity. Of course, DraftKings was up, and the momentum call buyers were out. SPCE, same thing there. All right, guys, so that's it. Really nice day to start the week. And, again, it takes a little bit of experience and technique to kind of make sure that you're not over trading, around the open, and that you're letting things settle in a little bit. But I'm very pleased with the way the way things went today, and as well that our watch list that I put together this weekend outperformed the market. So we'll carry on till tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow.